Hello, my name is Isaac, and today we're going to be looking at how to install all of the necessary software for running Java code on your device. So the first thing we're going to do is head over to our browser, and we're going to type in VsCode, VsCode download, and then you're going to go to the first link here. Since I'm on Windows, I'm going to click this button right here. And if you're on Linux or Mac, you'll click these respective buttons. Once you click the download button there, it should automatically start a download. And once it's done installing, you should be able to see it up here. If you don't have this tab right up here, you can also just find it over in your Downloads tab over here on your device, which is right here. So then what you're going to do is you're going to double click to open up the setup process. You're going to hit I accept, next. I like to add a desktop icon, but you don't have to. You can click next, install, and then you're just going to wait for this to go through. Should go by pretty fast. And then once it's done, you should be able just to hit finish. And it should launch you up into something that kind of looks like this, where you just have kind of this blank screen with a couple things here under the start menu. You won't see all of these exact things because we haven't installed all of the necessary software, but this is the first step, is downloading VsCode. Alright, the next thing that we're going to want to install here is something called the Java JDK. And what this is the Java Development Kit, and all it lets us do is to be able to run Java code files on our laptop, because most laptops or devices just don't come pre-installed with Java. So we need to install something to be able to run all of our Java code. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to this Java SE21 archive downloads link, and you're going to look for the specific download link for your device. Since I am on a Windows device, I'm going to go down to the Windows x64 MSI installer, and I'm just going to left click. I've already done that process, so it's already here in my Downloads tab. But what you're going to do is, once it's done installing, you're going to left click, and you're just going to go through this little prompt here, and you just click next, next, and then I'm going to wait for it to do its thing. It's going to ask you if you want to allow it to make changes. You're going to say yes. Because I already have it installed on my device, I'm going to say no. But it's just going to ask you to do a couple more things, and you'll just hit next each time, and then it'll say, oh yeah, okay, Java's installed now. But I'm going to hit no. But if you did it correctly, if I go over and I open up File Explorer, and I go over to the tab down here that says this PC, and I go over to Windows and to Program Files, there should be a folder in here called Java if you've installed this correctly. And further in, JDK 21, that's what we just installed. And if everything went through successfully, there should also be this bin folder, and you're going to click into that bin folder. Once you're in here, what you're going to do is we don't want anything in this bin folder. What we want is the location of this bin folder, because what we're going to do is we're going to want to tell our computer, hey, where is this folder, so that we can easily run all of our Java files, because our computer doesn't naturally know where this thing is located, so we kind of have to tell it. So if I left click over here to the right of the arrow there, oops, it's going to give me the directory or the location of this file. And I'm just going to copy this, just Control C. And so in order to tell our device where this file or this folder is located, we're going to go down and we're going to type in edit the system environment variables. So by the way, this is only something you can do on Windows. You'll have to find another tutorial for Mac OS or Linux, just because they're different devices and I don't have those other ones on hand. But they're kind of a similar process to this. It's the same idea of where you have to tell your laptop, hey, where is this folder located so that I can run these files, these Java files. So I'm going to go to edit the system environment variables, and it's going to pop open this tab somewhere on my screen. And I'm going to go over to environment variables, and I'm going to go down to this area that says system variables. I have it installed in 2 locations. For you, I would just recommend going over to this, left clicking on this chain right here that's to the right of path, and what you're going to do is you're going to hit edit, and we're going to add the directory that we had earlier to this list by clicking new, and we're just going to paste in the link, or not the link, the directory here, and I'll hit enter to save it in here, and I'm going to delete this because you can see that I actually already have it up here, so there's no need for me to have 2, but you'll want one of these directories in here telling your computer where the Java folder is. So I'm going to delete this real quick, and then I'm going to hit OK, and then OK. And at this point, your computer should know where that Java folder is located. And to test this, what we can do is if I close out of this in File Explorer, I can open up something called the terminal. The terminal is where we can basically just run a bunch of code-related commands and a bunch of different tools. But you'll kind of see here as we open it up. So I'll type in terminal, and it's going to open this window. And to verify that Java is properly installed on our device, all we have to do is type in Java and then space and then -- version. And don't forget the space there, otherwise it just won't run correctly. So if I run that, it should tell us the version of Java that we have installed up here, and then a couple other things here. And if this shows up, you properly installed it. If not, go back and make sure that you've done everything correctly. Alright, so the last major thing that we're going to need to install here is something called Git. And what Git lets us do is keep track of previous versions. It's kind of like you can kind of control Z as far back as you want. But Git also lets us share files with each other. And so this is a really useful tool that you'll actually come across in pretty much any coding hobby. It's just unbelievably useful, and it's also something that this tutorial later on is going to actually use. So, but what we're going to need to do is, of course, install Git. So we're going to look up Git download, and then I'm going to go over to downloads. Since I'm on Windows, I'm going to click Windows. Then do not install the portable version. This is if you wanted to install it off like a thumb drive. But we're going to go over to 64 Git for Windows setup. And then I'm going to wait for this to install real quickly. Alright, and then once it's done installing, you're just going to click the executable. Alright, it's asking me if I want to make changes. I'm going to hit yes. And then just install. It's going to ask you like a lot of different ways of customizing your version of Git. We're just going to click through next on all of the prompts, and it's going to pretty much automatically install like the default version. For me, it didn't actually ask me that because I've set this up before, but once it's done installing, you should be able to see this view release notes. Or you should see this page here, and if you hit finish, it'll ask you select something to open this HTML file. We're just gonna click whichever browser it's on, and then it'll just open up some of like the different versions of Git. We can just close this. It's not important. But if you've done this correctly, if you go over to Visual Studio Code, or sorry, VS Code, they're technically like 2 different things, but VS Code is the blue icon down here. And we start a new window. What you should now see in here is something that says clone Git repository. And so if this is showing up, you've installed everything correctly. And at this point, we should hopefully be ready to start getting into how to set up our project now. Alrighty, and so now the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to set up some extensions to make our job in editing Java code so much easier. And so in order to do that, we're going to go over to the top left over here, and we're going to look for a tab that says extensions. And in this search bar right here, you're going to want to type Java, and it should automatically show up with the extension pack. So what this is going to do is it's basically going to give us a lot of tools like error checking and being able to run our code with a click of a button rather than having to type out some commands and that terminal thing that we looked at earlier. But this just makes our job so much easier. And so you'll click on this and you'll just hit install. This might have popped up earlier in the bottom right hand corner of your screen, but what's important is that we just get this installed. And so once that's installed, what we're going to want to do is if you open up a new window to bring back this welcome page, you can go in here and you can click open folder. I can just close this one for now. Oops. I'm going to click open folder and you're going to go over to your desktop, and I have a folder here for specifically for programming. You're going to want to create one for like a Java tutorial or something like this. You can kind of just create a folder for now. It's not really important where it is. I'll just create a random folder in here that's just called Java test. And once that's created, you're going to go into it and then, double click to go into it and then hit select folder. And now you'll see that I'm actually in that folder. And what I can do is I can add a file in here called new file.java. And it doesn't matter. Actually, we're going to use main.java. Main.java. But the name isn't super important for now, but we're just going to create something just to test and make sure that all of our code is running properly. So I'm going to hit enter, and that's going to create our Java file here. And I'm going to have this down in the either the comment section or the description of the video. But what you're going to want to type out is public class main, and then public static void main string, and you're going to type out System.out.println. And so there are two major things with that extension pack that we installed. The first one is error checking. If I am missing something that makes Java unhappy here, you'll notice that it actually highlights where that error would be and underlines it with a squiggly red line telling me, oh, I need a semicolon here at the end of my statement in order to make this run correctly. This is extremely important because otherwise you just have to keep running your code and waiting for everything to execute to be able to see where the errors are, and it just makes your job so much easier. The other thing that this gives us the ability to do is to use this button up here in the top right hand corner, and this lets us, instead of having to type out all our commands to make this code run, what we can do is we can just hit this button and it'll run the file that we're in here. So if I hit run Java and I hit allow, what we should see, oops, I forgot to put something in here. If I say put in here hello world, exclamation mark, and I hit run, we should see that print out down here. And we see that it does. So this should, in theory, if we've done everything correctly, print out what we want it to down here in the terminal, and everything should be good. Alright, at this point we should have all the necessary tools installed to be able to run our projects and get straight into development. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments, and thanks for watching.